Question 2, again calling the Honourable Member for Onchan, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'd like to ask the Chief Minister to what extent UK-issued visas that allow a migrant to work are recognised by the Isle of Man to allow the migrant to work, and on what policy basis?
I want the Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. A United Kingdom issued Tier 2 General Work Visa requires the visa holder to be employed in the United Kingdom. These visas are not recognised in the Isle of Man for all work purposes. There are exceptions contained in the Isle of Man Immigration Recognition of UK Visa Policy, setting out the circumstances in which specified United Kingdom visas may be recognised in the Isle of Man without requiring an application to be made under the Isle of Man immigration rules. There are also a number of visas issued by the United Kingdom and the Isle of Man that do not contain a restriction to work, such as the Youth Mobility Scheme, family members of British citizens, and leave granted under the European Union settlement schemes. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Supplementary question, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I thank the Chief Minister for that clarification. With regards to when the migrant actually lands within the UK, can the Chief Minister advise how that person is tracked into the employment status?
Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, I haven't been advised on this, but I would say that when they come into the United Kingdom, they would have to go through an immigration purpose and have the relevant paperwork in order. If they have leave to enter the United Kingdom, then they have leave to enter the Isle of Man. If they then want to take up work, they have to apply for a visa because their employer would have to ensure that they have one before they can offer them a job. If the Honourable Member wishes any more detailed information, I'm more than happy to ask my team in immigration to circulate to all Honourable Members of this Court the details.
Thank you. Supplementary question, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. When a migrant does receive a visa to arrive in the UK, the UK Home Office automatically charges them £624 for incoming migrants for the NHS. Can the Chief Minister advise why the Isle of Man does not follow this when the migrant arrives in the Isle of Man?
Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Now, there are exceptions to the rule that I did advise, and UK issued Tier 4 and Tier 2 visas to undertake, and one of them is the UK Tier 4 and Tier 2 visas to undertake foundation programme or speciality programme training at Nobles Hospital, of which the policy was created in consultation with the Department of Health and Social Care. Now, if the Honourable Member is suggesting that we then charge a second fee for people to come and work in our hospitals on top of what the UK is charging, I'm sure we're going to do really well in our recruitment of people to our hospital, of which we are in need of new blood, whilst obviously we've increased our training of our nurses on the island, which I'm delighted to see. We still do need people from all over the world to come and help take our health service forward.
Supplementary question, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and thank the Chief Minister. And obviously, I wasn't aware that the 242 people that have received visas are working within the health service. I'm sure there's others working in other areas. But the question I'd like to ask the Chief Minister then, with regards, he keeps talking about Tier 2 visas. Tier 2 visas are certainly treated differently in other jurisdictions, and when they arrive in Jersey, for example, they are provided with a doctor, they're provided with a school, and all the data is centralised. Can the Chief Minister advise how a Tier 2 is dealt with once an individual arrives on the Isle of Man?
Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I think we're expanding on well from the topic, but I am more than happy to have a full detailed response given to all honourable members on how a Tier 2 visa applicant coming to the island is treated and what the advice they are given. But I would just like to point out that should a United Kingdom Tier 2 general work visa holder take up employment in the Isle of Man, they would be in breach of the United Kingdom visa conditions, and that leave may be curtailed, so they would have to come to our immigration team and get permission to take work up with whoever before they can take up work.
Final supplementary on this question, Dr Allinson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'd like to thank the Chief Minister for his detailed description of the difference between working visas and also immigration visas. Would he agree with me that people coming to work on our island under our work permit system, filling vacancies that can't be filled by Manx workers, are actually contributing to our nation and are not a draw or a drain on our resources? Thank you.
Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the Honourable Member for Ramsey for his very valid points. I would also point out that, as of yet, I'm not aware of any abuses by the system. It's worked for us well for a number of years. However, should the Honourable Member have an example or concern where she feels there is a loophole, then I'm more than happy to look into this.